Alright, so I've gone in and I've put all my gussets on. Hopefully you have too if you're trying to follow along. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about some weight reduction steps we can take. So I'll preface with this usually isn't necessary, but it does a couple of things. It takes a little bit of weight off, and to me it just looks more professional because let's be honest, this rail looks kind of boring right now, but once we get done with it, hopefully it'll look pretty good. So we're going to open up this rail, and we're actually going to stick with the triangular pattern. So yeah, I'm going to start a 2D sketch right here. Sometimes Inventor's weird, still haven't figured that one out. And then we're going to come and use this project geometry tool. And so what this is going to do is if I can select that edge and this edge, then when I come up here and I grab a point, when you can see it automatically puts these dotted lines and places my point for me. So I can just click yes, or just click, and it'll place that point. And then I can come into a polygon, but a triangle's only a three-sided polygon, right? So we can do 3, enter, and real fast. I don't actually want this point, but you can see the point. So I've got my polygon, and I'm trying to find that center. We'll do it like that, and we can come up just like that. First thing I'm going to do though, is I'm going to take this, which is the parallel constraint, and I'm going to constrain this edge to be parallel with that, just to make sure that my triangle is actually nice and straight. And then I'll give a dimension to this. It's pretty close to it already, but we'll say, yeah, 0.5. Might be a little bit big. It's important to note when you're doing these weight reduction patterns, you don't want to be too aggressive with it because then you'll end up taking too much strength out of your part, and you don't want that. I'm gonna stick with that 0.375 dimension because I'll come in here with a nice radius to make this easier to machine. We'll lessen that a little bit. I think it'll look better. And so once I add that radius in, things start to even themselves out. But once we have this guy, and we have all of our dimensions set and it's pretty locked in, we can come in with another one. Doesn't matter where this one's at, but just place it, do the same thing. Parallel. Dimension from here to here will be 0.5, just like before. From here to here will be, what, 0.3, just like before. And then we're going to put a dimension between this guy and this guy. I like to do about half an inch. That did not do what I wanted it to. I'm just going to Control Z. You can see this is then left from my center, which isn't what I want. So I'm actually going to come in, and even though it's in the center now, I'm going to lock it down to the center. And then I can edit this dimension back to my 0.5, and it moves the correct one this time. That looks a lot better. And then I'll come in with a rectangular pattern. I just thought of something. We're going to delete this dimension because it's going to make our next step easier if we do dimension from center point to center point. And it's pretty close to 1.5, so we're just going to call it 1.5. And then we can do a rectangular pattern of that direction here. I'll flip it just because I want to go the other direction first. And if it's 1.5 inches from here to here, then we need a 3-inch spacing to make the pattern look right. And then we can say what happens if we do 5 of them. That's too much, so we can come in and do 4. It takes us almost to the edge. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. I don't know about what y'all think, but and then we're just going to come in real fast with another triangle and do the same thing over on the other side. Parallel. 0.3. 0.5. 1.5. Rectangular pattern of all of that, and that. Direction here, 3 inches, what did we say, 4? And now you can come in and you can draw another triangle in here manually, just like we did the middle three. But I'm just going to go ahead and call it good for the sake of this video. I'll finish that sketch, and we can get to extruding. So we can extrude, and you want to come through and select all of these guys. And go ahead and extrude. We want to change the dimension, or the direction. So we'll go direction 2, 1 inch. Make sure it's set to cut. Alright. Now we have officially cut holes into the chassis. And then to make these actually machinable, because you can't actually get into that tight corner, right? If your end mill is round and you're using a 1/4 inch end mill to machine this, then you have no way to get into that tight corner. So what we do is we come up here to fillet. Now what a fillet's going to do is if I select the corner, it's going to round it off like that for us. So we'll come in and we'll place these fillets in. And you can change your fillet size, you can play with it, see what you like. You just got to make sure it's going to be machinable with whatever end mill you're using. And especially for these weight reduction holes, you want to make it to where you can machine them as fast as possible, because they're not necessary for, it's not necessary to be as precise with them, because nothing's interfacing with them, generally anyways, nothing's going to interface with them. It's not like a bearing hole that has to be precise or anything, it's just there to look cool and take away a little bit of weight. So you can see I've now selected all of the faces on those 2 triangles, so I'll hit apply, can X out of that tab, and then a cool trick I found is I'm going to actually do another rectangular pattern. I'm going to select those, those fillets, direction, choose that, I'm going to go the other way with it, and then 3 inches, yep, just like that, and then I can just say like 8. And you can see it's even going to go over a little bit, but I think that should do okay. So now we do that, and you can see, even though there were some there, it didn't matter, and those all look nice and filleted. And if we come back to our chassis here, it's nice, and it's a pretty aggressive pocket, but should be okay with this 1/8 inch wall tubing. And you can come in and you can do the same thing in here. You just got to be careful not to get too close to any of your holes or anything. If I was doing it for a competition robot, I would probably be more careful and have it to where I can't see down this tube. It doesn't really matter, it's just a personal preference of mine. Yeah, one other thing I'm going to do real fast, just because I like to, is I'm going to set my material types. So I'm going to come back over to rail, scroll up in the material selector, aluminum, and then I like to set this just to match our robot's theme. There's a color in here called dark gray. Boom. And then front back, material type, aluminum, color, dark gray. Perfect. Come back to chassis, and you can see how that's kind of shaping up, right? It's not looking too bad. Remember to save all of your stuff. Okay. I don't save as often as I should, but that's another thing. So yeah, that's just a little lesson on how to pocket things out and make them, one, look cool and save a little bit of weight on your robot. It's not going to save a whole lot, maybe it'll save like 6 pounds overall, but I personally think it looks more professional and adds that little touch to your robot. So, thanks for watching.